Hey, what's going on everyone, and welcome to a new video on a Winter's Night for Travelers, a game where we will be playing with four different characters with four different stories. The game has a pretty good and interesting god style, and I pretty much like it. And we will also have a lot of interesting situations and puzzles and stuff to deal with. And we start at February 1929, somewhere in Central Asia. And so we start off on a train with a very interesting looking guys, and we have no idea where we are. So we speak to the masked man and tell him that we have no idea how we got here, and we have absolutely no idea how we ended up in this train at the first place. And we ended up in the first scene, the silent room. And so we start off with our first character, Carlo. So Carlo is a lover of someone called Patrick, and at the moment we are at the hotel waiting for Patrick to come around. And as we do that, I figure out how I would look around, try to find some interesting stuff, maybe do something interesting, maybe there will be some kind of puzzle or so until Patrick would come. And that's how we pass time until we finally hear the door buzz. And that's our guy. That's Patrick. And so as we go to open the door for Patrick, we finally see how Patrick looks like. Patrick is a quite interesting businessman, as we learned in the game, and he knows Carlo from a very long time. And so now they are meeting after some quite a distance and long time no see, and they share a drink and saluted cheers goes around. And that's when Carlo tells Patrick that he has a gift for him, kind of flowers with a gift card that's quite has a lovely letter in it. And Carlo gets excited about it, but Patrick has other plans for Carlo. He shocks him with "we need to talk" kind of sentence. And that's what they do. Patrick tells Carlo that they can't be together anymore, and Carlo does not really get it too well. And so he gets really angry and smack. Patrick is dead. So we start the new arc of the villain. Carlo gets in a kind of a state of a shock, not knowing what to do since everybody now knows where Patrick is. And so we start looking around, even if you would notice the painting in the back has changed. After we see, of course, a weird, strange call from an alien or God knows what's that, we wash our face and we found the envelope. This is the everything, the key of the story. An envelope and a mask, an invitation, quite to be specific, and that's when we see Carlo has actually just killed himself. And then we move back to the train, where we'll find our second character, our traveler, the lady, Winterwood lady. She also seems to remember nothing or how she got here. And she is quite an interesting lady. She got me a lot of time to get there. So we start in her room, and everything I do around, just mess around and see what I can do. Take off the options, check every item and every single thing that I could get or could see. And of course, this lady is quite interesting. When you go to the mirror, she does not want to look at the mirror, she just goes, no. And at some hanging clothes kind of thingy, she just goes and goes like, shh, quiet now. She is a really interesting lady, and more like an insane lady. And yeah, we'll have quite another interesting story with her. And then I go to the hallway to see if there's anything else I would do. And then, as in my way, I found a letter with condolences. And then we go to the hallway to find the maid, and we hear her in her room talking to a bunch of people, but we can't really hear her because the door is too thick. And God, to finding the item that should help me get to the listening behind the door took me like a real long time. It was a cup next to a book, or the table, but I didn't see it. I was just looking around thinking that I've missed something, and I really spent a lot of time just looking around, not finding where the cup is or how to get, I don't know, some kind of listening to listen to like what they're saying. And so finally I went again upstairs, and there it is, a cup or glass. It was just right there looking at me in the eyes, and I just could not do a thing about it. And after grabbing the cup and we went to the maid's room, we heard them talking about how they should keep the meds away from us, because the meds apparently would just make our situation worse. And yes, I was right, we were mentally ill for some reason, and we should have stayed away from meds. So the lady did not accept that the maid would keep the meds like from her. She's the lady of the house, of course. And so she went back to the room, and after looking around we took the meds finally. And then we can find out that we actually do turn a lot of things, and as you can see, everything turned colorful and stuff. And I started looking around, and I could have done a lot of things now that I could do. For example, looking in the mirror and lots of stuff that I couldn't do earlier in the black and white kind of world, the sad world. This is more like a hallucination that the lady suffers from, and how she could jump from one state to another. And after looking around, playing some music and everything, the lady has started in a new situation where she like ended up with the dose of the meds, and so she had to look for more. So we got up and chose nothing but to just look for med. We got an envelope, we did not decide to read. She just ignored it. She started looking for the meds, found them, and took more. And here we are, back to the colorful world. But that wouldn't last long. We started going further to the foyer, and that's where we found a journal about how this lady and her husband Henry met. And turns out she was a princess who left the palace and everything for her husband, and she went to back to his place to live with him. There was a quite simple puzzle about a clock that I should set up the right and the quite correct numbers for it, so I can put the thingy in the time. So the clock at the place where the journal was exactly at 3 o'clock. I tried to do that in multiple ways, but it did not work for me, so I had to figure something else. And then I remember that there was a book for the clock. Like, it talks about how the clock works, and the book says that the clocks are 7 minutes late. So I tried to do that, and it worked. I put it 7 minutes late, and everything worked. The puzzle is solved. And so we started going back to the foyer, where we had to progress from there. And in the foyer, like in the next area, just there was a new thing where we had again another puzzle. We had to press these shadowy figures in quite the right order, so we could get the right timing and the right story and how things worked over there. And from here we could find a lot of signs of regret, signs of hiding something. There was a lot of mystery that I was looking around for. This took me quite some time actually to figure out that there was an actual order that I should follow. I thought it was just some kind of glimpse of memories that I should look for, and from then get some kind of conclusion that will tell me how the story works. But no, it was different. I had to put them in order, and that's what I did. So I went and finished the puzzle, and then took this umbrella so I can grab something from inside the water. And the something was scary. So this, I don't know what's that, head of something, or God knows what's that. So this put the lady in a state of chaos and panic. So she started running around, and the dose was getting less and less, so her colorful world would just collapse in front of her. So she kept going around, and there was some weird things happening around her. She was more like realizing the truth of what's happening, And then we found out the journal about her husband's death. So he did die in a car accident because there was a pet running in front of the car, so he drifted away, hit a tree or something, and he passed away. So she realized that her husband is dead, and she couldn't really accept the truth about that. So she went to the room where she thought he was alive studying, but she did not find him. And that's quite a shock for her. She cried a lot, and then she said how much she misses her husband and everything. And then from that moment on, everything just collapsed. Like, that's the end for you, lady. Her story is quite interesting, and it also ends in a quite similar way to the previous one. So she stands up, and she'll probably just do the unspeakable. Same thing as Carlo. Yeah, as we thought. So we're gonna go downstairs, and that's where we will find the key for the story, the envelope and the mask. So she finds the invitation, she finds the envelope, she goes for them, she tries to read them, same as Carlo did. And as she does that, we see the awful truth of what actually happened to the lady.